Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
Thank you very much, and I am thrilled to welcome Michelle Malkin. We're going to prove that an Atlantic City High School graduate and a Holy Spirit High School graduate can coexist in great peace with one another. I have a lot of respect for Michelle's great work over the years. She's a longtime Fox News Channel contributor, national syndicated columnist, editor and publisher of her own digital platform, MichelleMalkin.com, MichelleMalkin.com, graduate of Holy Spirit, as I mentioned just a moment ago, author of 6 books, and some really great work that Michelle has just launched officially yesterday, the new investigative series, Michelle Malkin Presents. This is an incredible episode of this cop killer, Assata Shakur. What was her name? I should know it by heart. Prior to being this name, just a hideous person. I remember Brianne or something like that, but Joanne Chesimard. But Michelle would know. This episode is on CRTV.com, and Michelle joins us now. Michelle, it's Harry. How are you?
Hey, good. I'm representing my fellow Spartans today.
I'm wearing blue and white. You're wearing blue and gold. It's all good.
That's right. We're cats and dogs, but we coexist.
Yes, I do want you to know one of your former teachers, I did a tweet and a Facebook post that you would be on this morning, and he's a dear friend of mine, your former teacher, Dave Pfeiffer. Said what a great student, what a great reporter, what a great investigator. And I just have a sneaky suspicion that he's somehow listening in the classroom.
Well, then I got to give a shout-out. He was a wonderful U.S. history teacher, very passionate, exactly what educators should be, and there's so few of them now, unfortunately. I remember his class as well. So, hi, Mr. Pfeiffer.
And as you know, no easy grader either. He was tough.
That's right.
Man, you got an A from him. You earned it. He's a great guy, and he's a legendary boys and girls track and cross country coach as well.
Yes.
So all your platforms are awesome. I love it. I love MichelleMalkin.com. This new investigative series, though, I really think your unique skill sets to be dogged, to be thorough, to really be able to connect dots. I really think this Michelle Malkin Investigates is your best work to date.
Harry, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We are doing really incredibly revolutionary things at CRTV.com, and I urge your listeners, my hometown listeners there, to take a look at what we're doing. A lot of the debate over the last year, especially this very raucous election cycle, and certainly these first few months of the Trump presidency, the debate has been about journalism and fake news and the agenda-driven liberal media. People are sick and tired of it, and I think alternatives like what we're offering at CRTV.com are really the solution for people who want more. I've been at Fox News for 13, 14 years now. I love what I do there, but it's not the only thing that I do, and I've wanted a wider space to dig deeper into stories that I think are being undercovered or covered up.
Yep.
And this new episode that we released this week is of particular interest to people in New Jersey because it involves a state trooper, Warner Foster, who among state troopers in New Jersey even today, some 30, 35, almost 40 years after he was murdered execution style at a traffic stop on the turnpike, still has a lot of resonance because there has not been justice for his family and for the men and women in blue who have never forgotten him. So, as you mentioned, Harry, the subject of the documentary-style episode that we just put out is Assata Shakur, a.k.a. Joanne Chesimard, who was one of the most prominent leading radical figures of the cop-hating Black Liberation Army. And I know you've got listeners out there who remember full well in the 1970s when the BLA and other, brother and sister domestic terrorist groups like it, like the FALN, had declared outright explicit war on our police. And, over the last several years under the Obama administration, we've seen the same thing. And in fact, it is not a coincidence that a lot of these young agitators on college campuses, the Black Lives Matter movement, have celebrated Assata Shakur, Joanne Chesimard, as some sort of godmother of their movement. Fidel Castro welcomed this woman into Cuba after she broke out of prison a couple of years after she was convicted, and she is still sitting there pretty with a Cuban socialist subsidized apartment, library, graduate education. It is an absolute disgrace. And so we released this show this week because Saturday is the 40th anniversary of her conviction. And I know that there are many folks out there in the tri-state area who have been ramping up pressure on President Trump, who has been a champion of law enforcement, to get this woman back.
Michelle, wouldn't it have been great? I mean, here the former president was going to do the unthinkable. He was going to reverse like 50 years of American policy. And we had Cuba, just like we had, Iran, right where we wanted them, broke as a joke, really in trouble, not on the ropes, but really down on the mat. And here he's going to open up markets. He sends them money. He sends them freedom. They're driving 1960s cars that they have to pound out dents with hammers and mallets because they can't get anything new. We go and give them all of this to do the bad that we know they're going to do with it. And he doesn't even say, oh, and by the way, before the ink is dry on the first check and before the first, liberty that you now will have that you didn't have, and the ability to do market, work in the free market that you haven't been able to do in 5+ decades. We want Joanne Chesimard on a plane, and we'll let you know when she lands. They didn't even do that, Michelle.
Right. No concessions, nothing in return. But that's the kind of raw deals that Obama cut. And I am hoping that President Trump, of course, who is the originator of the art of the deal, can do something more, not only to bring back Assata Shakur, Joanne Chesimard, but dozens of other of these so-called political refugees, political prisoner fugitives who've been harbored there for upwards of 4 decades. And as I asked in my column accompanying our CRTV.com episode, and you can read my whole column and click on links to the show at MichelleMalkin.com, if the FBI can go out there and track down Tom Brady's stolen Super Bowl jerseys to Mexico, why can't they go over to Cuba and bring these people home?
And they got that back in a few weeks.
Right.
I mean, you're so right. You're so right about that. Michelle, what's the genesis of Michelle Malkin Investigates? How did this come about?
Well, over the years, I've had a lot of people approach me and ask about doing some sort of TV show. And I never wanted to do sort of the conventional cable TV show that we see every night. And they're great at what they do. I love to go on for, the 3 to 5 to 7 minute segments and yell at liberals. I guess I'm really good at that. But I really wanted to exercise my investigative journalism chops. And I've worked for 2 major newspapers. I've had a syndicated column for the last quarter century. And I've always had a foot in new media as well. I started 2 new media companies and sold them, and have always wanted to push at the forefront of social media and new media. And I really think that the time is right for this kind of show, this kind of programming, appointment TV that you can watch when and where you want. I mean, more and more people are cutting the traditional TV cord and watching movies on Netflix or Amazon Prime Video, and that's what we offer. You can watch my show on your tablet or on your computer, even on your smartphone at CRTV.com, and we're offering people a free 7-day trial right now, so you can watch this Assata Shakur episode for free. I highly recommend that if you've got parents and grandparents out there, that they watch the show with their children and grandchildren, so they're fully informed and properly educated about how the social justice mob has endangered America. I think it's so important for these young people to understand how our men and women in blue put their lives on the line for us every single day, and the ways in which left-wing rhetoric is costing lives. And so that's that's where it came from. And I mean, I do one of these shows now every week. We're releasing a new episode, upwards of an hour, documentary style, because I don't think that 60 Minutes and Dateline should have a monopoly on investigative journalism.
Something I wanted to remember to say to you, I really appreciate sort of your bio at michellemalkin.com, where you write about yourself. I'm a mother, wife, blogger, conservative syndicated columnist, and author. I love your priorities. I know that order is not by accident, and I think that's very, very good.
It's not. I thank you. I really appreciate that. Once, in fact, the left-wing, shriveled-up prune of an actor, Alec Baldwin, made fun of conservative women online who put mother at the top of any biography. It's my greatest accomplishment.
But they're never a misogynist, though, Michelle, are they? Never.
Of course not.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They're the progressive, tolerant
They're the good
feminists.
You have to give me, Michelle, you have to give me an answer to this, because you are so good at these sort of impossible quandaries to figure out. What is it about our wonderful nation? We're still on our worst day, and I know you know this, and I know you agree with this. On our worst day, we are still the greatest nation in the history of the world. There's no doubt about that, even with the worst government of the past 8 years and all of that. But what is it about the universities and the colleges in our country where they will idolize Mumia Abu-Jamal? They'll want him, free Mumia, wear the T-shirts, free Che Guevara. They'll wear those shirts. They would have them as speakers. They wanted to have Che Guevara as a speaker, or Mumia rather, Abu-Jamal as a speaker at a university. But yet somebody like Condoleezza Rice or any conservative, and she's not even really that conservative, any Republican is not wanted. They'll be protested against. What is it about this adulation of these heinous people and their condemnation of really solid, good Americans?
Yeah. Well, they hate America, and I don't say that lightly. I came from a far left, so-called progressive college campus, a liberal arts college, Oberlin College, outside of Cleveland, Ohio. And that's where I saw it firsthand, and I was completely unprepared for just how intolerant and vitriolic these so-called safe spaces really are. And safe space actually was a concept that was born and perfected at a place like Oberlin College. It is a safe space for everybody except for conservatives. And I've spoken on many campuses over the years. The paroxysms of hatred that we've seen, the stifling of free speech, it's not an accident. These are ground zero for tenured radicals who hate the Constitution, who hate our sovereignty, who hate traditional values that make our country great and continue to sort of inoculate us from the worst kinds of extremism and prevent America from completely crumbling like so much of the rest of the world is now. And I think it's a warning signal. I mean, I've got a 16-year-old now. So my daughter is considering, what she should do in the future. And it's a very radical proposition. I am the daughter of legal immigrants to this country who are proud to become naturalized Americans. And it had always been the concept that, you have to go to a good college. It's the path to a better life and to, getting a good paycheck. That's no longer the case because these places have become brainwashing centers. And so you think about the return on investment of 4 years of a good college. I'd rather my daughter, if she has a great entrepreneurial idea, if she wants to go to vocational school, if she wants to just jump right into the workplace, I'm okay with that. And that had never been the case, and that's a very, very sad thing.
I know you got to go in about a minute, and I want to plug the new investigative series at the very end, but give us your best 60 seconds on another favorite topic of mine. Al Gore loses, and then America needs psychiatrists and, puppies and crayons and Play-Doh and safe rooms and, all of this stuff. Obama wins. We don't need any psychiatric help. We don't need any appointments with psychiatrists or psychologists. Hillary Clinton loses. Here we are again. We need safe rooms and puppies and all of this. How come when they lose, the country is just like, we're just devastated. But when we lose, it's like, show up Monday, get back to work, sucker.
Yes, that's a great way to contrast this pattern that we've seen over the last several election cycles. I wrote a book in 2006 called Unhinged, Exposing Liberals Gone Wild, and talked about all of these different pathologies, political and psychological pathologies. They're sore losers. And again, I think what you see here is a really good lesson on how parents should raise their children not to be snowflakes. I think that maybe should be my next book, a parental guide to preventing your children.
You know, your Unhinged book, it's if it's possible, it's more current now because we've been using this phrase Trump derangement syndrome. This unhinged Trump deranged syndrome that's going on, it's at a level, Michelle, that we would welcome what we thought was derangement and unhinged. This is unlike anything we've ever seen.
That's right. And if it were limited to that, it would all be funny. But as I pointed out in Unhinged, and as we've seen over the last couple of years as well, it escalates into something very dangerous. These people have assassination fascination. I did a whole chapter on that. And remember that before and after Election Day, this was actually a hashtag that was trending on Twitter. Assassinate Trump. These people are crazy, and yet they accuse us of being hate-filled, of inciting violence, and they never hold themselves to their own standards. That's a problem. Hypocrites.
Michelle Malkin, I know you have to leave. Give us a plug one more time. Where can we see Michelle Malkin Investigates?
Harry, it's at crtv.com. Just to click on my big face there, and you'll see my vertical. It's Michelle Malkin Investigates. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial and get a discount on your subscription by using the promo code Malkin.
Now, Michelle, I know this is not worthy of one of your fantastic national columns, but we really had a breakthrough today because a Viking and a Spartan existed in peaceful harmony in a way that I will remember this for the rest of my life.
We should be Nobel Peace Prize co-winners.
And right, for not for what we've done, but for what we might do. Now, before you leave, you got to do me a favor. Your new brother Harry, you got to write me a column that goes national, and you have to do it on Chelsea Clinton winning Variety's Lifetime Achievement Award at age 37. Please? Pretty please?
We really have achieved the post-achievement era.
Yes, it's for what you might do. We just give it to you now, though. Your participation trophy.
That's right.
All right, Michelle. Be well.
Thanks.
Take care.
Take care, Harry.
See you now. You too. Isn't she great? We'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go away. It is Hurley in the Morning.